Hey everyone, my name is Jen O'Sullivan with Jen O'Sullivan Photography, and I'm here to talk to you about a mistake that brides often make when hiring their wedding photographer. This is quite an interesting one, and part of it for me comes down to my business model and other photographers' models. So you're gonna have to just ask and find out if it's okay with you, because it really depends on the photographer. Now, as you can tell, I have a lot of energy and I love what I do, and I'm caffeine free, which always freaks people out because they don't know how I have the energy that I do, but I think it's because I am caffeine free. But one thing I do that's very specific to my company is I'm a boutique wedding photographer. Now, what that means is I take a limited number of clients per year. And so I do probably about 20 to 25 weddings a year, which doesn't sound like that many to most photographers, because most photographers out there personally are shooting anywhere from 60 to 80 weddings, and some photography companies upwards of 120 weddings. Now you might ask yourself, well, maybe I'd want the photographer that's shooting 60 weddings a year, because that seems like they're more popular, or they're more, they're got their finger on the pulse of it. The downside to that, though, to understand, is that I'm very well involved in the wedding industry. So if you kind of look around and see what I do, I'm very involved in the industry. It's just I choose to do one wedding a weekend and maybe 2 weddings a month. Now, why would I do that when I have all that time to do? You think I just sit around all day. Well, I don't. I'm very, very active with my brides, and what that means is my clients know that on their wedding day, they're it for that weekend. And so what that means is I memorize the timeline, I memorize the names of the family members, and so that really enables my clients to feel like, wow, she's taking care of us. Now, I have done weddings before where I've had 3 in a weekend, meaning Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I can't even tell you how hard that is, because, and I don't do it anymore, this was years ago, and that's what most photographers do. If they're doing 60 weddings a year, you can count on having potentially 1, if not 2 weddings on your same weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Why that's problematic is they're worn out. By the end of the night, even Saturday, they're worn out, because if they shot all day Friday, we don't just stand around. We're like hunters. We're like running around, hunting for images and capturing every single moment. It's not like just stand around and have fun. So do understand that the wedding photographer you choose, I would ask them, how many weddings are you going to do on my wedding weekend? And they might be offended, like, well, as many as I book, and you can say, well, are you going to do more than 1 on my day? And they'll say, of course not. But you can ask, if you have a Sunday wedding, I would really, really caution you to ask, are you going to do a wedding on Saturday? Because what happens is they start mixing things up. And I know this from experience, meaning I've got, if I have 2 brides on a weekend, I have to, it happens every so often where I will book a bride, a Saturday or Friday and a Sunday. I don't book anything in between. And the problem with that is when I do that, I have to get rid of my kid for like a few days before, meaning, farm him off to my mother, and I have to really focus on that first bride, and then the day between, I have to sleep all day, back up everything, and then really focus on the other bride. Because what happens is you start mixing up timelines if you memorize things, you start mixing up names. I remember in the early days of my photography, years ago, like 9 years ago, I remember one bride calling her the wrong name, and it was because it was a bride that was the day before. And I remember thinking, I will never double shoot again. And I just thought that's what people did, and that's what most photographers do. And it's just because there's so much at stake, and everything's running so fast on the wedding day that things get mixed up. And I've had, clients tell me that their friends have gotten photos that they specifically asked for and then never got them. And it's like, it's because the photographers get confused with what's going on if they're doing 2 or 3 weddings a weekend. So that's just one little tip to tell you. I'm not going to tell you that all photographers are going to do that for you. I would ask you to ask them how they safeguard that and mixing things up. Some of them say they have a mind of steel, and I have a very good memory, and I often wonder how they do it. But for my company, I've decided that I do what's called like boutique shooting. It's a little more pricey on your end, but you're getting a photographer that is there for you on your wedding day. All right, you guys, so again, my name is Jen O'Sullivan with Jen O'Sullivan Wedding Photography, and again, it's called Jen O'Sullivan Boutique Wedding Photography, and I look forward to hearing from you. Congratulations and take care.